Hey there, Tad Hargrave from Marketing for Hippies. Hope the sound is okay here. Whew, just out for a walk. Snow is melting in Duncan. Had it for a couple of weeks, I think. That'll probably be it for the year. Big change from Alberta. Today's video is about the bait and switch. Oh man, I just got a message from a woman who used to be in my mentorship program, who's crushing it. Does a lot of work around supporting overgivers to not overgive so much. And she has her main strategy for growing her list, getting clients, her business has been approaching podcasts, getting interviewed. So she approaches this one podcast, or she goes to check it out, and their write-up is very, we're a top-tier podcast. We're extremely, choosy about who we have. So if you apply, don't imagine that you're just going to get in. And something about the way they worded it, her spidey senses went up, and she just thought, this seems fishy. But she applied anyways. They respond within an hour. Okay, so you're a world-class, top-tier, elite podcast, but you just replied and accepted me within 1 hour. But she just thought, let's see where this goes, and so she went on the podcast and says she wanted to take a shower after. Why? Why would you want to take a shower after being interviewed on a podcast? Because it was the sales pitch for their online community / course software, or whatever it was. There was some online software they were selling. And so then at the end, it turned into this hard close, and everything they'd asked her, I think they kind of used it and weaponized it for the sale. And I don't know all the details, but she just said they pushed so hard. And everything you're saying here, our technology is the solution to that. And she didn't feel heard at all. And at the end they said, is there any question you wish we would have asked? She said, I wish I'd said, yeah. I would have wanted you to ask me about advice for new business owners. And so they asked her, so what's your advice for new business owners? And she said, what she wished she'd said was there are a lot of things that seem like great opportunities that are just covert sales pitches, and then hung up. I wish she had. Yeah, so this bait and switch, I've seen this before. Another version of this was there was one of these mind, body, soul expos in Edmonton. And they would reach out to people and say, hey, we love your message. It's so powerful. We'd love to put you on stage at our expo. We'd love for you to speak. And so it's very flattering. You think, oh, you want to put me on stage? That's great. I'd love to be on your stage. Sure, what's the date? I say, it's this date. And the only detail is we ask our speakers to have a booth. They need to buy a booth in order to speak on the stage. I got no interest in having a booth. So, the whole thing about speaking was actually just a covert sales pitch for the booth. That was the real reason for the call, is they're trying to sell booths. I get it. Those things are not that profitable, those expos, as much as they may look it. But it was it was a lie. Yeah. It's like the, hey, let's meet for coffee as friends, and then they're hitting on you. Or let's meet for coffee, and now it's an Amway presentation that you didn't sign up for. The bait and switch is no good, which we all know. But this is worth underlining. It so destroys trust. But not just the trust between you and them. That certainly happens. But also their trust of anyone else in your industry. I mean, when you do that, you condemn people. Your colleagues, all the ones to come, of being less trusted by, So I just had to share that story. If you've got a story of a bait and switch, I would actually love to hear it. I'd kind of like to collect some of these little case studies. So if you had a time where somebody gave you an invitation, but when you showed up, it wasn't what they promised, and it was really just a sales pitch you see what I'm saying? I'd love to see that in the comments below. I'd love to collect these. Sometimes we can learn so much by what not to do. Sometimes those are the most instructive lessons. Like what might they have done better? Well, not that. My God, not that. They're trying to short circuit. I mean, I guess they're picking people who they think to interview, who they think might be good prospects. But, it erodes the fundamental trust, and trust is the entire thing. That's the whole thing in sales, is that they trust you. And if you lose that, you've already lost the sale. As soon as they turned it into a pitch, the sale was already gone. They just didn't realize it at that moment. But as soon as it was, Suzanne realized she was trapped, that meant the trust was gone, which meant the sale was gone. There is no such thing. People don't buy from people they don't trust unless they're coerced, and then they usually ask for a refund later, or they badmouth you. Anyways, I could go on and on. I'd love to hear any stories or examples you have in the comments below.